why she cannot sleep, and what her body is actually processing it, starts around 2 in the morning. You have been asleep for a few hours, or maybe you have not slept at all, and suddenly you are just awake. Not anxious exactly, not spiraling, just awake in a way that feels different from ordinary wakefulness. Your body is doing something. You can feel it even if you cannot name it. A low hum, a pressure behind your sternum, a strange alertness that has nothing to do with the day you had or the thoughts you went to bed with. You reach for your phone, you put it down, you stare at the ceiling, you turn over, you try the breathing thing you read about somewhere, and underneath all of it there is just this hum, this current running through you that your body refuses to let go quiet. This has been happening for weeks, maybe longer. And the part that no one talks about, the part you have been sitting with alone in the dark at 2 in the morning, is that you cannot trace it back to a specific thought. It is not that you are thinking about him and cannot sleep because of that. It is deeper than thought. It is like something is running in the background of your system that does not care what your conscious mind decided before bed. Your body is processing something your mind has not caught up to yet. That is not a metaphor. That is literally what is happening in your nervous system right now. And if you can stay with me through this, I want to tell you what it is, why it happens specifically in early separation, and why the fact that your body keeps waking you up at 2 in the morning is one of the most significant signs that this connection is real and that something is actually shifting. If that landed somewhere in you, hit the like button and subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. Drop the words "I trust my body" in the comments below. Let that be your anchor today. And if the 2 a.m. wakefulness comes with specific questions, his name, his face, a connection you cannot explain to anyone who is not inside it, a personal twin flame union reading was made for exactly this moment. Your birth chart holds the blueprint of this connection. The timing, the karmic patterns, what the universe is currently building between you. Not general guidance, yours specifically. You can order yours right now through the link below, and it arrives in your inbox within 48 hours. If you have been waiting for clarity, stop waiting. Because what your body is doing right now is not a malfunction. It is not anxiety that needs to be managed, or grief that needs to be suppressed, or longing that needs to be talked yourself out of. It is intelligence, a different kind of intelligence then, the one that runs during the day, and it is trying to complete something. Here is what you need to understand about early separation specifically. The nervous system does not process relational bonds the way it processes ordinary experiences. When something matters at a soul level, when the connection carries the kind of charge that twin flame connections carry, the ordinary rules of emotional processing do not apply. You cannot just decide to feel it fully during the day and be done with it. You cannot think your way through it. The nervous system has its own timeline and its own preferred window for doing its deepest work. That window is night. Sleep researchers have known for decades that the brain does something fundamentally different during sleep than it does during waking hours. The prefrontal cortex, the part of you that plans and reasons and maintains composure and decides what to feel and when, goes quiet. And in that quieting, the deeper systems of the brain become active. The limbic system, which holds your emotional memory and your relational bonds and the map of everyone your nervous system has ever attached to, begins to do its processing work. This is why grief often feels worse in the evenings, why longing spikes around midnight, why you can get through an entire day feeling almost fine and then fall apart at 10 p.m. It is not weakness. It is the body waiting for the prefrontal cortex to get out of the way so the actual work can happen. In early separation, this process is especially intense, because early separation is the phase where your nervous system is still oriented toward him, still tracking for him, still running the pattern that your body formed around this connection, the way you became attuned to his energy, the way your system learned to regulate in sync with his presence, even at a distance. And when that presence goes quiet, your body does not just move on. It begins a process of reorganization that happens beneath the level of conscious thought. What you are feeling at 2 in the morning is that reorganization happening in real time. Peter Levine, the somatic psychologist who developed somatic experiencing, spent decades studying how the body processes experiences that carry intense charge. What he found is that the body has an innate mechanism for completing cycles of activation. When something is left unresolved, when a charge builds in the nervous system and cannot discharge through ordinary means, the body will create its own opportunities to complete the cycle, often in sleep, often in that strange space between waking and sleep where the body has just enough consciousness to process but not enough to resist. Your 2 a.m. wakefulness is the body creating one of those opportunities. The pressure you feel in your chest at night, the humming current, the strange alertness, these are not symptoms of something going wrong. They are the sensation of your nervous system moving energy through, completing something, and the fact that it keeps happening. The fact that it keeps pulling you out of sleep night after night means the charge in this connection is real, and the processing your body is doing is significant. There is something else happening at night that is harder to explain in purely scientific language, but that I want to name anyway, because if you are in a twin flame connection, you have probably already felt it. The energetic cord between twin flames does not go quiet when separation happens. If anything, it becomes more active. The distance creates a kind of tension in the cord, a pull in both directions, and that tension is something both of you feel. During the day, the noise of ordinary life gives you something to orient toward. Tasks, conversations, the small demands of being in the world. But at night, when all of that quiets down, the cord becomes impossible to ignore. What you feel at 2 in the morning is not just your body processing its own experience of separation. It is also the hum of the cord itself, the live current running between you even in silence, even in absence. And there are nights, you probably know the ones, where the feeling is so specific that it doesn't feel like yours, where the intensity has a particular quality, an edge, a texture that doesn't match what you were feeling when you went to sleep. Those are the nights when he is most activated, when something in his own processing is moving, something in him that he cannot control or suppress or redirect because the prefrontal cortex is offline for him too. And the cord between you, that energetic structure that exists regardless of his conscious cooperation, conducts that energy directly into your field. You are not imagining the nights that feel different from the others. You are feeling the difference between nights when the cord is quiet and nights when it is running something significant. Right now, the energy between you is particularly charged. Mercury has moved into Cancer and is sitting in deeply emotional, intuitive territory. Mercury in this placement is not about clarity of thought. It is about the intelligence of feeling, the kind of knowing that comes through the body rather than the mind. And Jupiter square to Chiron, active through the middle of this month, is pressing on old wounds with a specific kind of insistence, the kind that says you need to feel this fully before you can move forward, the kind that keeps waking you up until you do. This is not a difficult transit for your connection. It is a necessary one. Here is where I want to talk about something that most people in this journey get wrong about the sleeplessness. Most of the advice you will find tells you to manage it. Take something to help you sleep. Practice more rigorous sleep hygiene. Give your nervous system what it needs to settle down. And while I understand that impulse, because the sleeplessness is genuinely exhausting and you need to function, I want to offer you a different frame first. The sleeplessness is not a problem your body is creating. It is information your body is trying to give you. The question worth asking at 2 in the morning is not how do I get back to sleep? The question worth asking is what is my body trying to complete right now? And sometimes when you stop fighting the wakefulness and instead let yourself be in it, something shifts. The processing that your body needed to do in peace without the interference of your conscious mind gets to happen. And then you can sleep. I want to ask you something honestly. In the weeks since the separation began, how often have you let yourself feel the full weight of this? Not the thoughts about it, not the analysis, Not the conversations with friends about what he might be feeling or what the dynamic means or whether this is really a twin flame connection. The actual felt experience of what this is costing you. The grief of it, the longing of it, the specific physical ache of someone who is significant being absent from your life. Most people in this journey discover, somewhere in the middle of early separation, that they have been managing their emotional experience more than they have been having it. They think they are feeling things because they are crying sometimes or because the thoughts come and go. But thinking about grief is not the same as grieving. Narrating the experience to yourself is not the same as moving through it, and the body knows the difference. This is where a lot of the 2 a.m. processing comes from. The body is doing at night what you have not been giving it permission to do during the day. The Twin Flame Journey Tracker and Progress Workbook exists for exactly this reason. Not to give you more information, not to explain the stages to you, but to help you see in concrete terms what you're actually moving through. Because one of the cruelest things about this journey is that the growth is real, but it is invisible. You are changing. Your capacity to hold this experience without being destroyed by it is expanding. Your nervous system is reorganizing in ways that will matter enormously for what comes next. But none of it is visible to you in a way that feels satisfying. None of it gives you the sense that you are actually moving forward. The workbook gives you that. 39 pages of tools for tracking your stages, logging your synchronicities, mapping your movement month by month. Not so you have proof for him, so you have proof for yourself, that the nights you have spent awake at 2 in the morning were not wasted, that the processing your body has been doing in the dark has been adding up to something real. You can find it in the store. Let me be specific about what is happening physiologically, because I think it matters for how you hold this experience. When a significant attachment bond is disrupted, and what you have with him is a significant attachment bond, regardless of what the relationship technically was or was not, the autonomic nervous system enters a state of heightened alert. Researchers in attachment neuroscience call this protest behavior. The system ramps up its activity in an attempt to restore the lost connection. You reach out more. You think about him more. You're more sensitized to anything that could be a signal from him. And at night, when the ordinary demands of the day are not there to redirect the system, the protest behavior goes internal. It manifests as sleeplessness, as strange dreams, as that 2 a.m. wakefulness. This is the biology of early separation. And here is the part that matters. It does not last forever. The nervous system cannot sustain heightened alert indefinitely without beginning to regulate down. And as it regulates, something changes in you, not in a loss of love way, not in a moving on way, but in a settling way. In a way where the urgency lifts and what remains is something quieter and more permanent. A knowing that is not based on activation, a connection that exists below the noise of protest. The body moves through this at its own pace. Your job is not to accelerate it or to shut it down. Your job is to be present with it. To let the 2 a.m. wakefulness be what it is, processing, completion, the body doing work that needs to be done, without adding the layer of fear that says something is wrong with you for not being able to rest. Something profound is happening in your nervous system right now. Something that is preparing you for the version of this connection that exists on the other side of early separation. The nights you cannot sleep are part of that preparation. The mornings where you wake up tired but somehow more yourself are evidence that the preparation is working. What your body knows right now, even if your mind cannot catch up to it yet, is that the connection is real, that it is not going away, that what you feel in your chest at 2 in the morning is not delusion or wishful thinking or an attachment to someone who does not want you. It is the genuine, biological, energetic reality of a bond that has not broken. That is not breaking. That is doing something more complex and more significant than either of you can fully understand while you are inside it. Trust that. Trust your body. Trust the 2 a.m. wakefulness. Trust the hum. It knows something your analytical mind keeps trying to argue you out of. And it is doing its work, faithfully, every night. In the quiet hours when the rest of the world is asleep, and you are the one awake with the feeling of something real still running through you. There will come a night, not far from where you are now, when you sleep through, when the body has moved enough of what it needed to move that it can rest, and you will wake up that morning with something different in your system, not resolved, not finished, but quieter, more settled, like a storm that has finally moved through and left the air clean. You are not there yet, but you are in it, and being in it is exactly where you need to be. That is not a small thing. That is the work. That is actually the work, because here is what nobody tells you about early separation. The point is not to get through it faster. The point is not to manage the symptoms until he comes back. The point is what you become while you are in it. And the body, your body, right now, at 2 a.m, is doing the labor of becoming that, of reorganizing itself around a new center of gravity, of learning what it feels like to be fully yourself without his energy as the anchor. That process is not comfortable. It is not supposed to be comfortable. It is metabolically expensive, which is part of why you are exhausted in a way that sleep does not entirely fix. Your nervous system is using genuine resources to do genuine work. It is not a malfunction. It is not a sign that you are failing to cope, or failing to heal, or failing to move forward. It is the exact opposite. The thing attachment researchers have found, and this is worth sitting with, is that the quality of the reorganization matters more than the speed of it. People who try to accelerate through early separation, who manage and suppress and stay busy and make themselves not feel it, often end up doing the reorganization work later, in a different relationship, in a different context. The body finds its way to complete the cycle eventually. But the people who slow down and let the 2 a.m. wakefulness be what it is, who let the body do its work without constantly fighting it, those people come out the other side with something that the managers and suppressors do not have. They come out integrated, and integration is what makes reunion possible. Not just the reunion with him, but the reunion with yourself that has to happen first. The two are not separate. The way you meet yourself through this process, the willingness to be awake at 2 a.m. with something you cannot fix or speed up or think your way through, is the same quality that makes genuine union sustainable. Because genuine union requires two people who are not running from themselves, who are not trying to use the connection as a way to escape the experience of being in their own body. What you are learning in the sleeplessness is how to be in your body, how to be with your own experience without immediately trying to change it, how to trust that something happening below the level of your conscious understanding is moving in a direction that serves you, even when you cannot see the direction and cannot feel the serving. That is enormous. That is the thing he has not learned yet. That is, in part, why the separation exists. Because the soul contract between you requires that you learn it first, that you demonstrate to your own nervous system that you can be present with difficulty without dissolving into it or running from it or managing it into invisibility. You are demonstrating it right now, every night, in the dark, at 2 a.m. The question is not whether you can get back to sleep. The question is whether you can be gentle with yourself while you are awake. Whether you can put a hand on your chest and acknowledge, without drama, that something significant is happening and your body knows it and is doing what bodies do when something significant happens. Whether you can stop making the wakefulness into evidence that something is wrong with you and start letting it be evidence that something real is in motion. It is in motion. You feel it. Your body has been trying to tell you that for weeks. Not in the language of thoughts or narratives or explanations, but in the language of hum and pressure and the specific quality of 3 a.m. when the cord between you is running something that has no name in ordinary conversation. Trust the hum. Trust the cord. Trust your body's intelligence, which has always been smarter than your mind about this particular thing. And trust that the work being done in the dark, the work that no one sees, the work that leaves you tired in the morning and more yourself by evening, is the work that matters most. You are not broken, you're processing. And processing is preparation for what comes next. And when morning comes, and it always does, notice how you feel. Not in comparison to how you felt yesterday, not against some benchmark of how healed you should be by now. Just notice, is there something a little looser in your chest? Is there a quality in the light that feels slightly more bearable than it did a week ago? Is the weight still there but sitting differently? These are not small things. These are your body's report from the night's work. These are the receipts. You are doing this. Even when it does not feel like you are doing anything at all. That is enough. That is more than enough. And your body knows it, even when you forget.